Have you ever wondered what it's like to actually work at a tech startup? You're probably picturing a bunch of young guys dressed casually, walking around, drinking energy drinks, doing a lot of coding, not a lot of rules. Well, some of that's true and some of it may not be. I've been working at a tech startup for the past 15 months, and today I want to share with you guys what I've learned and give you the experience of a day in the life working at a tech startup. Let's get into it. Now, first off, I want to start by saying I found my job at a tech startup completely by accident. I wasn't looking for a job at a startup, but you might be wondering to yourself if it's something that you should shoot for or look for. And in general, I would recommend working at a startup if you are ambitious, ready to work hard, and you're not as concerned about having a lot of personal time or personal life, but you're really focused on building your career. Now, the reason I say that is because one of the defining characterizations of startups is that they move very quickly. Right? These are small companies that are trying to get their market share. They're trying to build their customer base. They're trying to launch their product, whatever it is. And when the time is right, they're going to move and they're going to move fast. So that comes with a lot of defining things about the company. For example, if you're in the right place at the right time, the bar to entry for a tech startup may actually be lower than at an established business. The reason for that is because these companies are moving so fast and they need to find the right employees, but they need to find them very quickly. So they may not have a luxury of time to search and search through candidates to figure out exactly who they want, which means if you interview well or you have some experience that's related, and basically, if you have a good attitude, you have ambition, if you have the right skill set, you can get in, and it may be possible for you to get in a lot easier than at an established business where they have a very well-defined criteria, things that they're looking for, and they have the luxury of waiting 6 months or even up to a year or more to fill a position. I looked through Indeed very briefly and just did a quick Google search looking for tech startups, and they are everywhere. Now, granted, I am in a large metropolitan area, so if you are as well, you'll probably have no problem finding plenty of tech startup opportunities. However, that brings us to the next point, the pay. Now, startups often don't pay as well as big enterprises, but it really depends. Your mileage may vary. Some startups have a ton of capital, they've got a ton of investors, and they're offering higher salaries because they're looking for top talent. They want to make sure their product is successful, they're going all in on their bets, and they're looking for top talent, so they're going to pay well. However, there could be other benefits or other things that employees look for that may just not be as well defined or as well established. For example, benefits, health, dental, vacation time, everything's moving very fast, right? That's the theme here. So companies may or may not have taken the time to really think through benefits. They may really not have thought through vacation time or other benefits that employees are looking for. Now, on the other side of the same coin, with that relaxed vibe comes a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility. Flexibility is absolutely required to work at a startup. You need problem solving, you need creativity. Workarounds become a way of life, and flexibility is absolutely an essential as required by the employees. And I think it goes both ways, where the employers are a lot more willing to be flexible with the employees because they expect a lot of flexibility from the employees. One of the biggest benefits of working at a startup, tech startup or otherwise, is that you will get more opportunities. Now, I say this because it's what my experience has been, and I think depending on the size of the startup, this is generally true. Now, it's just a rule that the smaller the team is, the more different types of jobs each member has to do. If there's no one dedicated for this certain task, then someone who you wouldn't expect to do that job because it's not their job title, they might end up doing it just because they enjoy it or they have a natural gift for it or whatever it may be. As an example, I was hired on as a support desk agent. My primary role was to provide customer support and answer the phone, answer email tickets, things like that. Typical support desk role. However, when when there were no more cases to work or when I had spare time, I was able to code in Python to make some tools that made my role more automated and easier. I was able to pick up other types of platforms, start developing in a CRM, customer resource management, or customer relationship management. And there's just a lot of different opportunities that you might get when you're just somebody that's there and you're willing and you're showing passion and you're excited and you're willing to work hard and step outside your comfort zone. I guess that brings me to my next point. I would not recommend working at a startup if you have a very narrow view of what you want to do. Let's say you just want to code in Ruby and that's all you want to do. You just want to be a Ruby developer and that's the one thing. Unless you find a really good match with a company that has a need for that, you're probably not going to enjoy working at a startup because you're probably going to get there. And if it's still in the early stages, they're going to say, hey, we're hiring you as a developer. Yes, we want you to code in Ruby, but we also need you to take care of this other thing and this other thing. And here's 3 more things. Oh, and can you also review this random thing? And it's just going to be a lot of hats, right? You wear a lot of hats. So if that's not your vibe, then I would not recommend looking for a startup. If flexibility and uncertainty is something that makes you really, really nervous and you don't think you would like that at all, you really want that stable, reliable workflow, I would recommend going to a big established company because they're going to have a lot more policies, a lot more rules. They're going to have a lot more things that they just know how it's going to go already, right? And that is the exact opposite of a startup. A good analogy for a startup is you're building a plane as you fly it. So there's no stopping and you have to replace the parts midair. And one of the questions that business leaders think about in startups is, when do we tear off the wing and put on a new one? Because if we tear it off too early, we might crash. But if we don't tear it off soon enough, we might not fly fast enough to keep up with the market. So these are some of the questions that kind of dictate the flow and the culture of the startup environment. The last thing I'll say, guys, and that I've already touched on, is in general, startups are more relaxed in their culture. They don't really adhere to the traditional business culture. Now, it's fading in general, but there was a time when it was expected that you would wear a suit and tie or a dress shirt or something like that. When I first started in my current job, I asked my boss, what's the dress code? And he said, you can show up in basketball shorts if you want. Now, I've never done that because that's not me. But the point is, I can dress however I like and nobody cares. Now, we still have a strong work ethic. We show up on time. We do our jobs. We go home on time. However, certain things that, may be more strict at another company, for example, clocking in and clocking out on every break or for your lunches, we don't do that. We just hold each other accountable and we go to lunch and we come back and you just let people know when you're around and available. And that's a huge benefit. The other thing that startups might be more flexible on is your work location. So if you're someone who thinks you would like to work from home, or if that's something you're really looking for, it might be worth checking out some startups to see if they allow remote work, and if so, how much, and if that fits with your lifestyle design. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm back on YouTube. I had a lot going on in life, but as you can see, I've upgraded my video quality and I have a Network Plus study course planned to come out for you guys. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.